she's almost started a lot of the innings now that she hasn't got runs under her belt. She's looking wanting to be very tight, very strong in her defence. And I'm not too sure if that takes her mind away from what actually gets her into a groove and into a mindset to be nice and aggressive and take on the opposition. Well, this could be out if it's a direct hit, even a clean-up by the keeper. So a missed opportunity by the Adelaide strikers off the second ball of the innings.
Well, Sophie Molyneux would not have appreciated a diamond duck at this stage of the tournament. She's been light on runs, showed great signs in the previous match against the Sydney Thunder here last night. It was wonderful to see Molyneux striking the ball. She got 22 off 18. Caught it long on against the bowling of a similar style bowler, Sam Bates.
I think the interesting thing was that Sophie Molyneux just didn't say no. It's a comfortable single. You're watching her and, you know, there's all these calls. There's heaps of time for Sophie Molyneux, even if she was looking at Lee thinking she might be calling here just to be proactive. But it was just that, well, she's called it, I'll go through, run through.
Well, it seems to me that they're looking for those quick singles. Molyneux out of the blocks for first single off her own bat.
There's a very typical Lizelle Lee shot.
The bowlers always think they're in the game. Lizelle, such an aggressive player, likes the cross bat shot to the leg side. She rarely misses them. She's always giving the bowlers a sniff, isn't she?
Shoot again to the left-handed Molyneux. It's in the air. They're going to go for another single. They'll make this one comfortably.
I'm really happy to see this from Sophie Molyneux. The intent looks fantastic. She's been under pressure. Her best effort so far in the tournament, a 39 off 38. She looks like she's switched on today.
Singles to start Megan Schutt's first over, and the run chase for the Melbourne Renegades. 5 of them coming from the first. Wareham and Brown out injured for the rest of this WBBL. They're best of buddies off the field. Got their own little media group going at the moment, and they're having a little bit of fun before the game as well.
It's the first day of school. Oh, why do birds suddenly appear every time you are near? Just like, I don't know. It's Marge Simpson.
Did you ever do it, Al?
Interesting skill set, hasn't she?
Well, she had her mouth open for that one. She can sing with her mouth shut.
I've heard also she's won an award for her artistic talents. Design down in Canberra. Well done to Maitland Brown. It's a tough time for her with her recent hamstring surgery. Hopefully she is back on the park as soon as possible. Tough time for her with her recent hamstring surgery. Hopefully she is back on the park as soon as possible. Tough time for her with her recent hamstring surgery. Back on the park as soon as possible. Tough time for her with her recent hamstring surgery. Back on the park as soon as possible. Tough time for her with her recent surgery. An award to recognise people who are breaking down barriers for women and girls to participate in sport. So I'll look forward to seeing the nominees.
So it's called the Alex Blackwell Award?
Award, yes. Yes, so...
Outstanding.
Yeah, thanks, Matt.
So it's called the Alex Blackwell Award?
I guess all that time sort of really that voluntary role at club cricket, which I know you do as well. It's such important work, our volunteers in club cricket. We know that there's a wave of young girls coming through playing in Sydney, the Sixers and Thunder Girls Cricket League.
It's just chopped past McFarlane. Patterson does well.
What we want to see is that translate to greater numbers and depth in women's premier cricket in Sydney, because we haven't seen that move too much over time. So as that wave of young interested cricketers coming through get to 15, 16, we want to see them translate into premier cricket.
Yeah. Well, Lizelle Lee has been watching Laura Vulvart and just copied her perfectly.
Well, Lizelle Lee, is she back? Just the check drive, punchy shot all the way for 6. Off the bat, it sounded beautiful.
Is there a nicer sound going around?
I don't think so. I mean, bowlers would say it's the rattle of the stumps, wouldn't they?
Well, they probably would, wouldn't they? That's probably, yeah, an indication of what I did in the game. Oh, yeah, that sounded good too. Didn't get the 6, but gets the 4.
Well, an expensive over for Brown. She has been the most economical bowler in WBBL cricket in this season. And that she'll take a hit on her figures there off the back of Lizelle Lee's bat.
So she pitched one up. Lizelle Lee went downtown straight back over the bowler's head for 6. Then she just dragged the length back a little bit. Lizelle Lee just sitting and waiting. And she pulled the delivery off its line through the deep square boundary as the hook comes out.
Isn't it frustrating, Mel? We've seen this time and time again at the showground. I think that you can see that they've got some makeshift board around the other side of the venue to try and stop this ball going underneath. And it's an expensive effort because those balls aren't cheap.
No, they're not. I was chatting to Jodie Hawkins, the GM of the Sydney Sixers, yesterday. And she said there's quite a bit of money under these stands at the moment because of the amount of balls there.
And as well, the logo, the Walkabout Wickets logo was printed on the Kookaburra ball, so that would have added a little cost, I would say. So there's some precious inventory underneath the stand.
So 4 off the last ball of Darcy Brown's over. Megan Shute now has the pill back in her hand. And will be bowling to Sophie Molyneux. 3 inside the circle behind point. Oh, that's well bowled. A chance of a stumping. Molyneux just quick enough to get back.
Yeah, just jammed down on the ball there, Molyneux. Didn't quite know where the ball had finished up. Tegan McFarlane quickly removes the bails, but I think Molyneux safely back in.
That'd be the last way you'd like to go out when you haven't quite got the amount of runs under the belt that you'd like within the competition so far. Gets on the hip, just falls short of Taylor. She can't take it cleanly, so a single to Molyneux.
So the left-hand, right-hand combination forcing a lot of movement in the field. Looks like Megan Shute bowling to a 5-4 field to the right-handed Lee. 6-3 field to the left-handed Molyneux. Just missing her run up there. Or was she trying to keep Molyneux in the crease? Maybe that's her first warning.
Well, I don't think Molyneux had actually left the crease. I think she just, landed landed a bit funnily and decided to pull out of the delivery rather than follow through.
Fantastic slower ball there from Megan Shute. She knows Lizelle Lee is coming hard at the ball. She's on 14. Not out. Hit a couple of fantastic boundaries already. It's such a challenge for the fast bowlers.
It's nicely driven. We've seen the power from Lizelle Lee down the ground and with the pull shot, and now we've just seen pure timing.
Well, I'm really happy for Lizelle. She's just been not quite herself in the tournament so far. Ordinarily, she's an opening batter, and we see her return to that role for the Renegades today. She did that last night as well, but she had been dropped down the order just to find some form.
Change of pace there from Megan Shute. Well, it's a completely different start for Megan Shute from the game the other day, because when she took 3 for 7, that 7 equaled the lowest amount of runs conceded in WBBL history for 4 overs.
Great areas. She's a classy bowler, isn't she, Megan Shute?
That she is. 3 overs bowled here at the Sydney Showground to the Melbourne Renegades. They're none for 24. This is the start that they were looking for, and trying to chase down the Adelaide Strikers. 122. So 99 needed from 102 deliveries. There's the power straight down the ground. Yes, there's some timing in it as well. Then drags the length back and pulls powerfully off the front foot through square. And then the classical cover drive to finish things off.
So I think Lizelle Lee at the top of the order is the best place for her to bat. She's such an intimidating prospect for the bowlers. She's coming out to bat with Sophie Molyneux, left-hand, right-hand combination. I think this is the right combination for the Melbourne Renegades.
Talia McGrath. Little cutter to start with, and that's really nicely timed and placed by Sophie Molyneux. Well, we've seen power from one end from Lizelle Lee, and we've seen touch from Molyneux at the other.
And what we have seen from Molyneux is her urgency and her intent with the singles to get herself into her innings. Wonderful piece of cricket here, just using the pace of Talia McGrath. I like the look of this partnership, it's forming nicely.
Pulled straight to mid-wicket.
Just kept low. Sophie Molyneux doing well there. Eyes on the ball, reacting to that slightly lower bounce than she was expecting. Good signs though, looking for that intent again. If it pitches a little bit short, she's looking to be aggressive.
Yeah, looking for that little late glide through the third area. You can see Megan Shute's employed a cover and a mid-wicket that are reasonably straight, but they're in, they're tight. They're looking to ensure that they can place a little bit more pressure on Sophie Molyneux. Up and over and past McGrath, not past Stefani Taylor.
What's interesting to me with the field set against Sophie Molyneux, she played a 4 first ball of the over. And the 2 points are positioned quite square, so it's almost to me that they're looking for Sophie Molyneux to just glide one a bit too fine and maybe get a nick in that way. She has wafted a few shots unsuccessfully outside off. Deep cover and deep backward square for Lizelle Lee.
On the legs past McFarlane. And a boundary for Lizelle Lee.
Well, you just can't bowl on the legs of Lizelle Lee. And you can see that left hand, right hand, just challenging the lines from the wonderful all-rounder, Talia McGrath. And Lizelle Lee picks off that leg glance, beautiful shot.
Get gets on the legs again this time. Wellington tidies up. 9 runs coming from the first over of Talia McGrath. Melbourne Renegades 1 for 33 after 4 overs. So Megan Shute needs to find a way here. The Adelaide Strikers skipper, they don't have a lot of runs on the board. 122. His equation is in favour of the Melbourne Renegades. 90 from 96 deliveries. Most importantly for them, 10 wickets in hand.
And Mel at the same point, 4 overs completed. The Melbourne Renegades currently at 1 for 33, and the Adelaide Strikers were 1 for 18 at this mark. So they're well ahead, the Melbourne Renegades, in a really commanding position. 90 runs required off 96 balls.
Leading wicket taker of the tournament comes in, Sarah Coit, and she's come in and she's been dispatched straight away. That is the Sophie Molyneux that we've been used to seeing over the last couple of years.
Well, that's a statement, isn't it? Leading wicket taker, 4 off the first ball. Beautiful batting. Molyneux looking more and more comfortable at the crease. I wonder what sort of conversations she might have had overnight with her coach and with her captain. She's really turned up today in a different mindset, it seems.
On the back foot, no, she's got some space to work with through the cover area.
Wonderful running. 4 and then a quick single. That's really impressed me today from Sophie Molyneux, her ability to get quick singles. And I think with Lizelle Lee at the other end, and when you're under pressure yourself in your own form, you've got a hitter at the other end who's so far looking fantastic. Give her as much strike as possible.
Deep mid-wicket and long on in play for Lee. So she goes long off instead. They're in a mood at the moment, aren't they, Lee and Molyneux?
Well, we talked about that the Renegades need an absolute miracle to make the semi-finals from this point. They're currently bottom of the table, not many runs, or sorry, matches left. It's only one way. They can only go one way. They must win, and they must win well. So it seems to me a clarity of approach with the batting today. Of course, they will need other results to go their way, and they can't control that.
So they're going for the miracle in this win, is what you're saying?
They need to win every game from here by a big margin. So if they don't do that today, then it's all over.
It's a simple equation.
Sometimes when your back's against the wall that much, it makes things very straightforward.
Completely.
So I think there's been a wonderful statement already against Coit, the leading wicket taker. Already 2 boundaries in this first over from her, and then Brown, who is the most economical in the competition, going for 14 in her first over. That's a real statement from the Renegades batters.
There's a little adjustment at the stumps. Slower ball. Yeah, it's really well played, Lizelle Lee. We know she likes to get down on that front leg, and particularly the seamers work them to the onside, but just reached a little bit more to get it nice and fine and find the boundary. So more statements being made in that over against Sarah Coit. 3 boundaries coming from the first of her overs. And the Melbourne Renegades are none for 46.
Shute choosing to bring herself on to finish off this power play. It's getting a little bit out of hand, this power play. After 5 overs, none for 46. And the strikers at the same stage, 1 for 22.
Started with a lovely off drive by Sophie Molyneux. And then she handed it over to Lizelle Lee. Stand and deliver. And then this one to finish things.
Minimal footwork, isn't it, from Lizelle Lee? She's just looking to pick off any error in line or length. She did that well here with the sweep, just standing so stable. Really getting the broomstick out to sweep that one.
This start for the Melbourne Renegades means that with some batting smarts, they can manipulate the field. If the ball isn't quite in their hitting zone, they're happy to get up and down the wicket. And then if that keeps transpiring, they'll certainly be well ahead. That'll push the Adelaide strikers into searching for something, and then they can find loose balls.
Well, historically, with the head-to-head, they've won 5 each, so it's been a very close contest over the years.
Just watching the Melbourne Renegades bench as well, it's interesting to see how teams are when they haven't had a lot of success throughout a tournament, been quite vocal. Still searching for singles if they can't find the boundary.
So the field set quite interesting here. Lizelle Lee so powerful down the ground. The drives are up. There's deep mid-wicket, deep backward square. So Shoot obviously not looking to pitch the ball up. The keeper is up, keeping Lizelle in the crease. Excellent bowling.
She wants to do a couple of things here, Megan Shoot, because there was 11 runs taken from the first of Sarah Coit's over, so she want to try and balance that over out with a decent economical over. There's only just 2 singles in it so far with 2 deliveries to go. It is also the last over of the power play. Chance to pick up one Renegade's wicket. Because there'll be, I think, a decent cheer from the Renegades group if Lee and Molyneux can get through the 6 overs unscathed and even pick up another single for the 50-run opening partnership. Huge gap to the onside through square mid-wicket. That's Lee's favourite shot, and that's brilliant work. Tony Mack tidying that one up. It is the end of the power play, and the 50 comes up for the Melbourne Renegades. They move to none for 51 after 6.
Well, Mel, this is the Renegades' best power play. No wickets down, 51 runs. Easily their best power play of the tournament. So as I said, their back is against the wall and they've come out firing. It's a wonderful start, especially led by Lee's powerful hitting and Molyneux's rotation of strike. It's been terrific. 6 down the ground, got Lee going. Really took to Darcy Brown's first over with a few boundaries. You can't bowl there, you got to get the bouncer up much higher than that. Lizelle Lee takes it for 4 and away goes the ball under the grandstand. Beautiful cover drive as well. It's not all brute force for Lizelle Lee. She's got some terrific finesse as well. Great placement. And how about this finesse from Sophie Molyneux? Just using the timing and the pace. Excellent balance at the crease. She's been busy today.
Certainly has been. Stefani Taylor's going to come into the attack, the first over outside the power play, so Megan Shoot has the ability to use 2 more fielders outside the inner circle. Stefani Taylor got a nickname of Golden Arm at the Sydney Thunder because threw the ball. She often got a wicket.
Yeah, absolutely. She was someone you could rely on to get you a wicket, to tie down an end. She's been actually quite expensive in WBBL 06. Just maybe trying to find her rhythm after return from injury. She was actually really toward the end of her time with us at the Sydney Thunder more valuable with the ball than the bat. We saw her sort of come down the order, previously has opened for the Thunder in the first year and then became more of a middle order option for us. And you know, the off spin that she provides, I do look back and sometimes I underbowled her really. sometimes that's difficult. You go into a game with 7 or 8 bowling options, and good bowlers can miss out.
Must have got a little bit of pad on that one. No wide given. It's tickled to Penner for the single. Megan Shute had a couple of options to go to, particularly if she was looking at taking the pace off the ball. So Stefani Taylor's was given the tick of approval, but also have Renegade Wellington and Maddie Penner as well. In needing a wicket, are you surprised that she didn't go to, say, a Wellington before a Taylor?
Yeah, I am. I'm surprised also that bringing the leg spinner in is an attacking move. And if you don't bring her in now, when do you bring her in? So to break a partnership, we've seen Coit and Brown, both in their first overs, go big. Yeah, Amanda Jade Wellington might go big in her first over, but she also might bring 1 or 2 wickets in that over. So, yeah, looking to go with the more conservative option, perhaps, with Stefani Taylor, who has done a wonderful job. She stemmed the flow of scoring with just 3 runs off that over.
Just a reminder, if you've just joined us, the Strikers won the bat flip and had a bat first here at Sydney Showground. 122 put on the board. Laura Vulvart played some glorious shots. If you haven't seen the highlights, check them out. 36 from 40. And then Maddie Penner, one of the longest bombs of the WBBL so far, I think. 26 not out of just 13 pills. She was impressive indeed. And in return, the Melbourne Renegades, none for 54 after 7 overs. Speaking of Wellington.
So, looks like Megan Shute is thinking aggressively, getting the leg spinner in. And what we can't tell, Mel, from up here is the wind direction. We can tell the boundary size, so we can see that Amanda Jade Wellington, bowling to the right-hander in Lee at this point, has a larger leg side boundary to bowl to, because the wicket block, we're playing on a strip that's more towards the south as we are looking down the pitch at the moment. Actually, my direction at this venue isn't great.
Say it with confidence, Al.
Yeah.
There is a breeze
Left is
coming
north.
across the ground.
So I was right. Point being, she's bowling to the bigger leg side field. And also the direction of the wind is really important for both spinners, really. Wellington bowling to 3 fielders on the leg side to Molyneux.
Oh, nice from Sophie Molyneux. Won't find the boundary, it'll just be the single. But even shots like that, I think, will give Sophie Molyneux more and more confidence out in the middle.
Well, Sophie can play a match-winning innings here by simply playing good, solid cricket shots, keeping her run rate around that runner ball. She's over it at the moment, 22 not out of 20. So she's doing a good job, and Lizelle Lee going at a much faster rate, seeing the boundaries. And she's just deceived there by Amanda Jade Wellington coming down the pitch. And the ball kept drifting into her legs. It's fortunate for Lizelle Lee, she didn't miss that one completely.
There's an art to it, isn't it, when you realise you've missed the ball with the bat, that you've just got to get something on it. Make sure it doesn't get through to the keeper. Oh, again, it sounded good. Went straight for the fielder at deep mid-wicket, and all they could do was watch it sail over the top.
Well, what a way to finish the over for the Melbourne Renegades. It had been quiet for the first 5 deliveries, and then a big 6 to finish it off. Lizelle Lee, I think she's back, Mel.
You're calling it?
I'm calling it. The way she's striking the ball, it's so crisp off the bat. She's not looking to overhit. I think she's been really well supported by Molyneux. Just finding that crease with Molyneux rotating the strike and being busy. Lee's able to launch a little bit more from her end. It's good to watch when you're not playing against her.
I bet it is. 3 runs off Taylor's first. So can they find some bowling partnerships here, the Adelaide strikers? They've been good at one end and then let down, and vice versa. It's been a struggle for Megan Shute to try and tie these two down. That's not going to help when you get on the legs. It's pretty much cued it through the mid-wicket.
She certainly did. She needs to get the chalk out and cue that up. She's got a good blade, obviously. The ball is absolutely pinged off her bat today. A few people in to watch as well.
Doesn't quite get over cover. And if anyone is going to take a little bit of a blinder.
It was a wonderful effort, wasn't it, from Laura Woolvart?
Saw her during the World Cup. Took some absolute crackers inside the inner circle.
Such a key point, key position at point.
Yeah, on the legs again. Living dangerously there, Stefani Taylor.
We saw an absolute ripper, one-handed grab at point, Nat Siver, against a reverse sweep from Tammy Beaumont at that position on this venue. That would have rivaled it, Mel, I think. Best catch of the tournament, Siver, point.
Look, it's up there, isn't it? Yeah, the outfielding, diving forward, I think it's one of the hardest catches in cricket, and we've seen multiple of those. Patterson, well mic'd up, Strano. As the Renegades move to none for 67. The equation now, as they look up at the scoreboard, 56 from 66 balls. Molyneux to 24, Lee to 43. And this is by far the most comfortable the Melbourne Renegades have looked with bat in hand since the start of this tournament.
I love this from the Adelaide strikers. I think a wonderful little bowling partnership is forming here between Taylor and Wellington. Yes, Wellington went for a 6 off the last ball of her previous over, but the dot balls and the ones have been creating that pressure. So in tandem, the offie and the leggy. So wonderful job there from Megan Shute to back her leg spinner in. Just might bring a wicket.
Full toss. Does she get hit the first ball of the over? She does. So she went for a 6 off the last ball of her last over and a 4 from the first of the next.
Yeah, letting her captain down there with a little bit of a full toss. And Lizelle Lee, too good. So what can Wello do here? She needs to get back on task.
Again, hits that a little bit straighter.
You're mentioning Bridget Patterson. She's in the hot zone out there at deep mid-wicket against Lizelle Lee to the leg spinner. She'll know that. Sun in her eyes at the moment. Probably can cool her jets a little bit to the left-hander Molyneux. That would be a terrific shot if it was hit out to deep cover.
Georgia Presswich, she's also had a outstanding WBBL in the field. Slog sweep, yeah, Molyneux getting in on the act now as well.
Oh, it's so good to see. Molyneux is a class act, and she's been down in the dumps this WBBL with her batting. It's been a real struggle for her, and we saw some signs last night. 23 she got off 19 deliveries against the Sydney Thunder. She's carrying on again today.
Just catch you up to speed as well, both UL and everyone listening in, with the other match that's going on in the WBBL today, and that is between the Melbourne Stars and the Hobart Hurricanes. They're at the complete opposite ends of form at the moment. The Hobart Hurricanes having 2 monster losses. And they've only scored in the 80s in the last 2 games. The Melbourne Stars hitting 3 for 159. The bulk of those runs coming from Elise Villani at the top of the order, 56 from 47. Annabelle Sutherland, 72 from 51 deliveries at a strike rate of 141.
Wow. Sutherland.
Straight down the ground, it's back over Megan Schutt's head. She's watching it. She's taken a very nice catch indeed. She made it look simple, but it was a tough one. It had spin on it. She was looking back into the sun, and it was the wicket of Lee. 3 factors made that even tougher. Well done, Megan Schutt.
Well, I'm so pleased for Megan Schutt. They're taking the catch after showing faith in her leg spinner, understanding it really was risk-reward. This could have gone a long way, although it went straight up in the air. Not an easy catch. Megan Schutt, one of the better fielders in this competition. She's pumped. That's a huge wicket. Lizelle Lee was absolutely on fire.
Outstanding work from Megan Schutt. And good work there from Amanda Jade Wellington too, holding her nerve. Means that Josie Dooley, who's been in some form with the bat, has been elevated up the order in the last few games for the Melbourne Renegades and has not let her team down. Last 2 knocks, 36 from 31, then 46 from 44 against the Thunder yesterday. A real innovator. She want to make sure that she can get herself in on this pitch first. And it's a different scenario with the wonderful start that Lee and Molyneux have created. 77 on the board before the loss of that first wicket.
Well, it was a terrific partnership, wasn't it? An opening partnership that you would take any day. Their best power play, 77 off 60 deliveries. It's really set this game up, and the middle order batters in Dooley and Webb have been really promising for the Renegades. So
Talk us through this catch, Al.
Well, Megan Schutt did a great job in turning and running back, trying to get those first few steps as far possible as she could into position, rather than backtracking and backpedaling. She turned and ran.
Darcy Brown into the attack. Looking for wickets here, Megan Schutt.
I like seeing Brown come back in. I was wondering how long we might wait. She's been so destructive for the Adelaide strikers, and yes, she went for a big over in the power play, but that anyone can go for runs in the power play. So Lizelle Lee gone now, new batter in, Dooley facing.
Trying to really hit the deck back of a length and just lost her line. They cannot afford extras here, the Adelaide strikers. Every ball is going to count. Still 9 Renegades wickets to work around this run chase.
Well, it's incredible the economy rate Brown's gone for so far in the tournament, 4.8 for a fast bowler in your first year. She's also picked up 8 wickets. I think she's been very exciting. I've mentioned her on a number of occasions, and it's just a joy to be here, staring down the wicket, watching the young quick steam in.
That's aggressive batting there from Dooley. It's a different bowling approach now for Darcy Brown. Usually in the power play where she's been so impactful, she's got sort of the newer pitch, the hard ball. She can come in. She's got the backing to bowl fast, attack the stumps. Now all of a sudden, with only the 1 wicket down, coming back in the 11th, 12th over, we're into the 11th over. They're still wanting to bowl quick and get wickets, but at the same point in time, she can't get hit.
Well, what she's doing beautifully is just bowling really tight lines, bowling at good pace. She's got a sensible field set, deep third, deep fine, deep square and deep cover point. This allows her to bowl quick and straight and with a hard length. The wicket is getting tired, and so at that pace, bowling at a hard length, it will be hard to hit her down the ground, and so she can create dot balls with quite a simple plan.
There's another one of those dot balls. So just 2 runs coming from that Brown over as she comes back into the attack. It was a wide and a single. The Renegades 1 for 79. I'll just finish off that Melbourne Stars Hobart Hurricanes game. So the Stars putting on 159, just the 3 wickets down. And in return, the Hobart Hurricanes have already lost Rachel Priest for 24 off 18 deliveries. Nicola Carey opened up the batting with Rachel Priest, so a change at the top of the order for them. And Erica Kershaw coming in at 3. Nicola Carey 22 not out, Kershaw 12 not out. Catherine Brunt has the 1 wicket. So the Hobart Hurricanes needing 101 off 58 deliveries at a run rate of 10.45.
Against a world-class bowling attack, it's tough.
It's looking difficult, isn't it? You love a miracle, though. You're backing the Renegades to
I
make
am
the
backing
finals.
the Renegades. Although they've stumbled in the last 2 overs, that over from Wellington, it went for 10, but it got the all-important wicket of Lizelle Lee, and then Brown coming on and pulling 4 dot balls.
McGrath back into the attack, very straight field inside the inner circle. Between mid-wicket and cover and mid-off and mid-on. Trying to really squeeze Josie Dooley here. She tries to get into her innings. She's 1 off 6. Once a single, Sophie Molyneux pretty much turned her back on her.
Well, she saw that it was Megan Shute at short mid-wicket. You don't run on her. I think I did try and run on her in WNCL final, got myself run out. She's wonderful in the inner circle. Her and Sarah Coit, and you've got Maddie Penner there at short cover. Looking to put the squeeze on by the look of it, isn't it, Mel?
Yeah, most definitely. This is where they can jump in.
This opportunity, the Renegades have been looking good, but now they're just stumbling a little bit. Good Yorker.
It's like she bowls offies.
To get
Fast
that length,
offies.
yeah.
Gets to the onside. Brings Molyneux on strike. What's probably going through Josie Dooley's mind at the moment is not only does she want to get herself into this innings, but she also wants to make sure that she can keep supporting Sophie Molyneux, who's found her way to 29 from 27. She's lost her partner in Lee, who was striking the ball nicely. So she wants to try and keep Sophie Molyneux in this really positive headspace for the remainder of the games in the competition. Sophie Molyneux with a high score of 39 from 38 deliveries against the Perth Scorchers back on the 14th.
Yeah, Molyneux's had a few starts.
She's got it's not like she's had a bad tournament.
Just hasn't been able to kick on.
Yeah.
And it's possibly been that combination of Lee not scoring as an opening partner that has highlighted her lean trot.
She just would have loved, so she's got scores of note 29, 23, 34, 39 and 22. You would expect Sophie Molyneux at least 2 of those to go on and score a half century.
Well, it might be the day today for Sophie. She's already got a good start. Her team is in a strong position. I don't think she needs to change too much about her approach as we do it today. To her batting partners.
That's in the air, it's past Megan Shute.
It's so important for the batting partners as they come in. Dooley at the moment to keep that run rate ticking over. Dooley 2 not out off 9. Just got to be mindful of those dot balls and how that affects the set batter in Molyneux.
1 for 82 after 12 overs. 3 runs coming from that McGrath over as she came back into the attack. And you have just joined us. Welcome. It's the strikers up against the Renegades. Lizelle Lee and Sophie Molyneux opened up the batting for the Renegades, as they have done right throughout this tournament. They knew they needed a big start to try and chase down 122. Sounds like a small target, but it's something that the Renegades have struggled with throughout this tournament. Lee and Molyneux put on 77 in the first wicket. Yeah, that's nicely timed too. Penner does well.
Great fielding there from Maddie Penner. It all counts, doesn't it? It's in the balance at this point. 1 wicket. There's been a real string of tight overs of Brown and McGrath, Taylor.
Across the line, that's through the field. Sophie Molyneux will like the feel of that.
Yeah, great shot. Picked up the length early. Didn't overhit it. That was a really lovely boundary for Sophie Molyneux. 34 now. Not out. She's on her way.
Brown starts again. Again, smartly driven straight to Coit at mid-off.
And despite the fact that that's a dot ball, I'm still really impressed with Molyneux's intent. She's not striking the ball too far out in front. She's really waiting for it. And soon enough, that'll be a shot piercing the gap.
Happy to take the single. 5 runs so far from the over. The boundary down the ground. And the single to Molyneux. Dooley's got a couple of deliveries here to negate.
And this is where Shoot, as the captain, senses they can get a few dot balls on Dooley. That fielder's just squeezing in ever so slightly.
It's comfortably played there by Josie Dooley. One delivery to go. Molyneux on strike. 35 from 43 is the equation. That's a nice shot too. Stefani Taylor has got too much work to do. Molyneux with that boundary moves to the equal highest score in the WBBL this season.
Classy cricket shot, using the pace. Look at those hands, just looking to ever so slightly open the blade, use the pace, easy as you like. Well done, Sophie Molyneux. She looks her normal self out there tonight.
10 runs coming from that Brown over. Megan Shoot's going to have to keep rotating these bowls till she can find a mix that's going to try and get them not just 1 but 2 or 3 very quick wickets. So why wouldn't you throw the ball to Sarah Coit?
I think you have to, Mel. I mean, she's been the most destructive in terms of wickets taken by any bowler in this competition. This is the time you need a wicket. You probably want the wicket of Molyneux. She's been the rock of the run chase so far. So important. 39 not out off 34. Dooley struggling a little bit. 3 not out off 10. And I think the key for Sarah Coit, she keeps things so simple. She just is on the spot at that knee roll length with subtle changes of pace. And you can see that they're only utilising 3 outfielders. No. Spoke too soon. Third man being pushed back to the rope. So, important job for the infield to get the dots.
Innovation of Dooley. She wants the second on the arm. It's a good decision.
Fantastic cricket shot. If it's in your game, this is a great time to play it. The keeper is up, the fielders are back. Fine leg and third man, they're quite wide. So if you can get it straight enough, it's at least going to be 2. It could even be 4.
Well, that's skied, hasn't got all of it, should be taken. Is this the turning point here for the Adelaide strikers? Dooley really couldn't get into her innings, tried to hit her way out of it. And Sarah Coit, as she does so often, comes into the attack and makes something happen.
Well, the wickets that have fallen today across both teams have been caught in front of the wicket, so that's telling me that the bowlers are bowling good changes of pace. It's also difficult to get your timing on a wicket that maybe is keeping a little bit low. Dooley just maybe overhitting on that occasion, taking a simple catch. This is exciting. Courtney Webb coming in to join Molyneux.
Still no Satterthwaite. Just the Renegade's captain, who's usually at the top of the order, hasn't come out as yet. But why wouldn't you? The form that Courtney Webb's been at the moment, just so cool in a crisis. Knows her game well. You feel as if every time she comes out to bat for the Melbourne Renegades, she's just learning more and just putting it into a bank of experiences and then bringing that out for the next game. She is at the non-strikers end at the moment. Full toss, drilled down the ground, needs to come in and has just misjudged it slightly. Sarah Coit not overly impressed. It's Katie Mack. She's an absolute whip it across the ground, but it felt as if she's going around the boundary rather than straight in.
Looked like, yeah, just looking to cut off the boundary. If she had come directly forward, might have had a chance. Maybe she's just shinned that delivery. Would have been a good catch. You want your players to go after it though, don't you, at this stage? Perhaps you'd rather see an attempted catch.
Most definitely, particularly Molyneux. Yeah, it's Molyneux on strike. Break that, 2 new batters at the crease. Without a doubt. And particularly a Mac who you'd back to go. If you actually go for it, you get a really good chance. Straight up and over, mid-off, Sophie Molyneux. As she moves to 45.
For me, it's just the ability of Sophie Molyneux to time the ball and to place it. She's hitting the pockets. She's hitting the ball exactly where she's meaning to hit it. She's not using much force at all, really. It's just through good timing, good shapes at the crease. She looks relaxed today. This is an opportunity for her to guide her team to their 3rd victory of the tournament so far. I'm in the red.
Can happen.
I'm in the red camp.
She's in the red camp. We're gonna have to might try and find out at the start of the next game what actually the equation is for the Melbourne Renegades in terms of this absolute miracle. Looked to go for the single, Sophie Molyneux, but decided against it, which was smart. That's the end of the 14th over. The 100 comes up for the Melbourne Renegades. They are just the 2 wickets down. That of Lee for 48 and Dooley, who departed just recently. So Molyneux and Webb at the crease. Webb yet to face a delivery. When she does, though, it will be that of Stefani Taylor. First wicket, this was a really good catch. She made it look very simple, Megan Shute, but tracked it back nicely over the shoulder, looking in the sun with a little bit of spin on it as well. And then Dooley really trying to muscle her way out and into her innings. Comfortable catch to Penner.
Oh, Sarah Coit adding another wicket to her tally. She is the leading wicket taker.
Taylor, a little bit of a false start.
Maybe it's the shadow that's come across the bowling crease at this point. It's a bit off-putting, isn't it?
It's well worked. She's one of these I suppose typically you look at the shorter stature type of player and you always think busy, don't you? Mignon Dupria, Bridget Patterson, Katie Mack.
Rachel Haynes.
There you go. But Courtney Webb certainly fits that mould. She's got great footwork, good speed, wonderful speed between the wickets and turn. And what I really like about her is she knows her game at the moment. It's pulled nicely straight to the one of the two fielders patrolling the boundary on the onside from Molyneux. She moves to 46.
Well, I think there's big things ahead for Courtney Webb. 54 off 33, forcing the match to a super over against the Melbourne Stars, which the Renegades ended up winning. A match-winning effort, her first WBBL 50. What comes to mind, obviously, that shot last year where Renegades needed 6 to win. Marizan Cap for the Sydney Sixers bowling. You bat Cap in every day of the week. And young Courtney Webb finds a way to get a 6 over long on to win a game for her team.
Yep. Soft hands by Molyneux. Yeah, the girl from Launceston through the Tasmanian pathway finds herself a real athlete. She clears the inner circle just.
Really fortunate that she did miss hit that one. Travel closer to Katie Mack, who already had an opportunity to take a spec. He didn't quite judge it.
Well,
Good footwork there from
hello.
Molyneux, just picking up the length really well today. 6 singles. They can do it in singles from here, however, they need a big win to stay in
For the
the
miracle.
Tournament.
If this actually transpires, Alex Blackwell, I'm going to call you the Oracle.
Well, they've got nothing to lose. I think it'd be wonderful to see Molyneux notch up her first 50 of the tournament, but to see her really go off here and find a way to win the game in quick time, just continue to give her team a chance. And they're disruptive, aren't they, the Melbourne Renegades? We've seen it before where they're not really favourites to make a final from this point, but they start to knock up the ladder. Strikers will still believe they can do something special here. 17 runs to get off 30 deliveries. They need wickets.
It's through. Will this be Sophie Molyneux's half century, a first since WBBL 04? It will be. She's been getting starts throughout the tournament. She's managed to kick on and get the Renegades into a commanding position.
Excellent batting today from Sophie Molyneux. From ball 1, her intent has been fantastic. Nothing crazy. She's just been playing good shots, keeping the ball on the ground when necessary, finding that elevation to the pockets. She's been excellent.
And very next ball is clean bowled. Well, that was a little bit of an anticlimax there for an innings that really had most people thoroughly entertained right from the start. Sophie Molyneux, though, has put the Renegades into a good position to take out the win.
Still back the Renegades to win from here. You've got former New Zealand captain Amy Satterthwaite, captain of the Renegades, coming to the crease. Left-hander replacing left-hander. Got plenty more batting as well with Leeson, Yates, Strano, McKinley blows as well. So they should really do it from here, but the strikers will believe now that the set batter is gone. You just never know. It's a funny game, but strikers have had a great time of it with the ball especially. So they're in form.
Molyneux departing 52 from 43 deliveries. Strike rate of 120. Now Amy Satterthwaite settles herself down Shoot on the attack, 3 out. The extra fielder inside the inner circle, trying to eat into a couple of these deliveries at the start of Satterthwaite's innings. 13 from 27 needed. That will be the instruction from Megan Shute to Talia McGrath to Amy Satterthwaite early, is just angle it in, tighten her up, give her no room for her hands to get through the ball.
You can see that Shute's really crowding the bat, ensuring that there's no easy singles for Satterthwaite to get off the mark.
Who's going to drive this home for them? For the Adelaide strikers, you can see some just general applause. They probably now need a couple of them to really give themselves a bit of a rev up. Let Satterthwaite and Webb know that this last 13 runs is not going to be easy. First runs to Amy Satterthwaite. And the end of the McGrath over. An over in which she clean bowled Sophie Molyneux just after she hit her first half century of the WBBL this season. Melbourne Renegades now 3 for 111. Still needing 12 runs from 24 deliveries.
Yeah, you still back the Renegades from here. But some classy bowlers, none other than Captain Megan Shute coming back on. She's captained well today. I've enjoyed seeing the way she's marshalled her troops and bowling changes, especially the way she backed Wellington to bowl a second over. Yes, it went for runs, but it got the wicket on the very last ball. The way that a senior player backs a leg spinner like that, I think, is really impressive. Can Shute do something special for her team?
That's the line and length.
We'll Shute it immediately coming on when Satterthwaite is at the crease. We've seen time and time again right-handed medium-pace bowlers stay over the wicket and target leg stump line to really tie up Satterthwaite, generating a few dot balls. You can see she's finding it difficult to score. The offside is all up. And the only way she can hit it through there is if Megan Shute makes an error and pushes it a bit wide, bowls more on an off-stump line, or if Satterthwaite backs off to the leg side, gives up her stumps in order to hit through the offside, and of course that would then bring the bowler into play.
Shute settles herself, comes around the wicket to Satterthwaite, and that's probably not the result that Megan Shute was looking for, because she's gone dot, dot over the wicket, comes around the wicket, and Amy Satterthwaite just released her hands a little bit and said, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, it's a shame because I think the plan was really working. Megan Shute staying over seemed to really be quite difficult. Now coming around the wicket.
Just 8 needed now from 21. Taylor's now going to just trot down to a short fine. Deep backward square, deep mid wicket.
I guess the only thing for me coming around the wicket brings LBW into play a bit more. So every mode of dismissal is now on offer for Shute.
Oh, goes with the short ball. Satterthwaite probably wasn't really expecting it, but hasn't got a heap on it either. So she picks up another single, brings Webb onto strike. Now a different approach for the shorter in stature right-handed Webb.
Now I think Webb will be aggressive here. She's someone who can find the boundary at will when required. I think now is the time. They need a strong win to keep their finals hopes ever so slightly alive.
5-4 field for Megan Shute. Yeah, in her line. Webb is all over that. There was a fielder there, the ball before. Not now, and Webb picks up the boundary. Getting a little reputation for being the finisher for the Melbourne Renegades.
Well, I think it's deserved. She's been terrific. Under pressure, finding runs for her team. Today, really just finishing off the job. A job that was started by Lee and Molyneux. Their opening partnership, 77 of 60, has really set up this game.
Short fine in play now. Cover sweeper. End of the Megan Shute over. The score moves to 3 for 121. So just the 2 runs needed by the Melbourne Renegades to take the win against the Adelaide Strikers. We've got 18 balls to do it in.
This will really lift the spirits of Melbourne Renegades. They've had a bit of a tough time of things in the WBBL 06. I think their injury count has been higher than most other teams. The side strain to Hoo-Hoo, she's been able to come back from that, but it really, once the season was almost gone for the Renegades. Obviously, Maitland Brown, who was selected in the Australian T20 squad, has now had some hamstring surgery. She will take some time to recover from that. And Georgia Wareham resting with a stress reaction in her shin.
Going to take on the inner field, chance to get the single to tie up the scores here at the Sydney Showground. So 122 apiece. Gives the chance for the skipper to bring up the win for the Melbourne Renegades.
And how does she do it? Looks like all fielders are going to be inside the circle. One fielder, though, remains out at that straight mid-wicket.
It's usually the way, isn't it?
It is a key area. It's forcing Satterthwaite to play a big shot to finish this game off. So no easy singles. Cover is in, mid-wicket is in.
Taylor's deep.
Yeah,
Fine, she's outside the circle at the moment. When she walks in, she'll be just inside. Happy to stand up and defend Amy Satterthwaite. She's got time on her side, she does.
well, not really, because net run rate is important for them. But look, I think realistically, it would take an absolute miracle for them to make the semis. So to finish with a strong win against the Strikers, which they will. It's been a good effort from the Melbourne Renegades. Wonderful to see them notch up their 3rd victory for WBBL 06.
Yeah, 3rd victory for the Melbourne Renegades after an 8-wicket loss to the Sydney Thunder last night. They've turned things around very quickly indeed. Adelaide Strikers, coming off a comprehensive win against the Hobart Hurricanes, have now been inflicted with this defeat. They were outside the 4. They'll probably still remain outside the 4 depending on other results today. But it just means that whatever the Melbourne Renegades keep doing in this tournament will seriously affect the finalists. So everyone will be keeping an eye on their form as they gather a little bit more confidence in this competition. It was a good all-round performance as well by the Melbourne Renegades. They bowled and fielded exceptionally well. They restricted a lot of boundary options for the Adelaide Strikers. And then probably almost the most pleasing thing I would have thought for Lockie Stevens and the coaching staff